I'm about to share something that might be controversial in the website design world. Your small business probably doesn't need a blog. And I know everyone tells you that you must have a blog to be successful online. But here's the truth. Today, in 2026, a neglected blog with 3 posts from 2020 is actually hurting your credibility and not helping it. Today, I want to share when blogging actually makes sense for your business and what to do instead if you can't commit to it. By the end of today's episode, you will learn why the you must blog advice is outdated right now, the reality of what blogging actually requires, and I will give you clear criteria for when blogging helps your business and permission to make that choice that fits your capacity. Welcome to Website Design Made Simple, the podcast for busy small business owners who want a high-performing website that converts and sells their offers, even while they're sleeping. Because you deserve to have a strategic and beautiful website that truly represents your brand and positions you as the expert that you are. I'm your host, Jenny B., web designer and creative director at Jenny B Designs, where we believe that your website is the one thing that makes you sales and builds your brand at the same time. Ready to say goodbye to a website that you're embarrassed to share? And hello to a money-making, personality-packed powerhouse? Let's head into today's episode. Hello, welcome back to the show. Today we're talking about blogging, all things blogging. And a quick introduction for those who I haven't met. My name is Jenny and I own Jenny B Designs. We are a brand and website design studio, and my passion is helping small business owners just like you design websites that work for them. And what I mean by work for them, that attract their ideal client and make them money. Today we're talking all about blogging. And of course, I'm sure you've probably heard this. Someone has probably told you that you need to have a blog on your website to be successful. And that kind of comes from the old SEO playbook. Back in the 2010s, Google loved that fresh content. Blogging was the main way to rank. I'm sure you remember all of those famous bloggers who had the recipe websites and the mommy blogs. They rose to power because of this content. More content equaled more visibility. That was true back then. Today, what has changed? Well, we have AI. Google AI has become a lot smarter, and it's more about quality versus quantity. Social media has also come into play, and it has become a way to distribute content throughout these channels, as well as video and podcasts. These compete with written content, and user behavior has shifted dramatically. You don't find yourself, and if you remember my episode from 2 weeks ago about no-click searches, we aren't doing those searches and then clicking through the blog posts anymore. We're getting the answers from AI, who are in turn going to those blog posts to get their answers. And I hear from a lot of my clients, they feel guilty. They think that they should be blogging. It becomes a source of stress. And they feel like they're failing at marketing because they're not doing this. Now, I am not saying that blogging doesn't help your business, because it's actually the opposite that is true. I believe that blogging can help your business tremendously. But here are the real reasons why your small business website should have a blog. The first and most important is that you're committed to SEO or AEO as a primary strategy, search engine optimization or artificial intelligence optimization. You understand that blogging is an investment, and it is a time investment, 6 to 12 months before you start to see a return. You are willing to publish consistently, and when I say consistently, I mean at least 2 times a month, and you have the time and systems to maintain it. And finally, most importantly, that you are prepared to do keyword research for each post. What this really means is that you are writing 1,500 plus word posts regularly. You're optimizing them not just for search intent, not just for people reading it, not just for keywords, but you are writing for your reader with those keywords. You're building internal linking structures, so linking from one article to the next to your services page, and you are training AI and Google to understand your expertise. The second reason to blog would be you enjoy the writing and the teaching. I have a client right now, and she loves long form content. She wants to share so much out with the world. It energizes her instead of drains her. And if this is you, that's a reason to blog. You have the knowledge, you have insights, and you just want to share them and build that thought leadership in your industry. And it could be that teaching is part of your business model. The third reason is that you have the support systems in place. And this is very important. By support systems, I mean you have a content calendar, you have a planning process to outlining your blog post, to finding your keywords, to writing the content. You might have help with the editing of the blog post or the formatting or the writing. And you have a promotional strategy just beyond publishing on your blog. I like to say that you can repurpose. You start with your longest form content. For me, that's this podcast. Then I repurpose it into a blog post. Then you can repurpose that blog post into social media content, into anything, a newsletter. Keep repurposing that. You have a promotional strategy beyond just pressing publish on your website blog. And finally, you're using analytics to track what's working. The honest blogging commitment. What is the least amount of work that you can do to see results? I think it's 2 posts per month minimum. Anything less looks like it's a little bit inactive. That would mean 1,200 to 1,500 words per post for that SEO value with keyword research for each topic. And of course, internal linking from one blog post to another to your services page and vice versa. The time related to that, if you think about it, for me, it takes me about 2 to 4 hours to write a quality post. And of course, there's some time, 30 minutes or so for keyword research and planning, understanding where I'm going to use my keywords and what I want to use in what places. And then, of course, there's the editing and the optimization and then promotion if you're going to use it beyond just putting it on your website. That is a large commitment. And that is something that I want you to think about when you start to hear yourself, that little voice in your head say, I should be blogging. Yes, you should be blogging, but only if. I'm interrupting this episode to ask you a question. Is your website working as hard as you are? You've invested in a website, but if visitors aren't becoming paying clients, something's missing. My website audit is a professional review where I will analyze your site and identify exactly what's blocking conversions. You'll get a prioritized action plan with specific changes to turn more browsers into buyers. So stop guessing what's wrong and get some clear answers. Book your website audit today. The link is in the show notes. Now back to the episode. You're committed to SEO as a primary strategy. You actually enjoy writing, and you have the support systems. If you have all 3 of those in place, or even 2, then it makes sense to commit some time to blogging, and your small business website should have a blog on it. But if you can't commit, and that is okay, a lot of us can't. We don't have that time or capacity right now. That is okay. There are other things that you can do on your business website that can help you. First of all, you can optimize the main pages on your website, those main home, about, services, if you have multiple services pages, and contact. Look at those. Consider picking a keyword if you don't have one already, making sure that it has keyword-rich content, that you have the keywords in the proper places, the H1, the H2, in your body copy. Does it have a title that is optimized? Is there a meta description? That can have more impact on your website and more specifically on your website's search engine optimization than just publishing a haphazard blog posts here and there. It's the first thing you can do. The second thing you can do is consider writing detailed case studies. This, again, is more valuable than just a generic blog post because you're getting detailed and specific about how your work has changed your client's life. You are talking about the transformation. It is specific to that client, and you're showing hopefully some imagery that shares about the transformation. This piece of content can serve as both a portfolio as well as SEO content. And it's easier to maintain than constantly writing blog posts. I do this for every single website that I launch. I write a post, a case study about how I worked with the client, what they were challenged with before they worked with me, the results that we got. We share images of the final website. That is a way that I'm able to keep my website fresh and have fresh content. The third thing that you can do is consider using video or podcast content. You might be better at speaking than writing. I surely know that I am. Writing is not my gift, but speaking, I can do that. Consider repurposing that audio or that video into written content. I record my podcasts into script, and that it allows me to pull out the transcript, and I can repurpose that transcript into a blog post fairly easily. I will look for some keywords. I will see what I want to add to the blog post about this content, and it allows me to write content much easier than just sitting down and thinking about a blog post that I want to write about. And finally, the last thing that you can do, and I think this is website adjacent, is have an email newsletter. I truly believe that you need to have a way to allow people to share their email address with you so that you can continue the conversation with them beyond just your website. And an email newsletter is this way. This is a way that you can build your list without having a blog and is a more direct relationship with your audience. And from there, in your email newsletter, you can try and repurpose testimonials, use social proof. You can write a short email and have a lesson in there or a couple tips. It's less pressure than actually putting blog posts on your website, and it might get you more bang from your buck versus publishing a blog post once every year. So those are some ideas that you can do if you can't commit to blogging on your small business website. Now, how do you make the right decision for your business? Think about what I shared above. Can you commit the time? And if you remember, it's probably, a few hours a month. I would say at least 10 to 12 hours a month blogging. And can you commit to doing this for 6 months? And are you willing to wait 6 to 12 months to see those results from the SEO and AAO search engines? And do you really like it? If you have answered no to 2 or more, then I think you have your answer. The blog is probably not the best place to put your energy into. Think about an alternative strategy that I shared with you. And if you said yes, then I think that in 2026, it might be a great time to think about creating a sustainable blogging plan with these realistic expectations in mind. Now, if you have an abandoned blog, like I mentioned earlier from 2020, think about removing that blog, the link to the blog from the main navigation. I always say keep that top navigation clean and simple. And you want to have it 5 items or less. If you're a service provider, the about, the services, the contact. If you don't have a blog that has fresh content, then consider adding the link, taking it out from the top navigation and adding it to your footer. So it's not front and center. You want people to be able to read it. You also want search engines to be able to find it, but you don't need it at the top. And then think about, can you commit to reviving it? Do you want to? If you do, create a content calendar. Think about the next 3 months and go back and update some old posts. If you have some old posts, start there. Do they have a keyword? Have you changed your point of view since you wrote this? Have things changed in the industry? Can you update this old post? That's probably the easiest thing to do. And then write some new content from there. And the third thing that you can do is repurpose those old blog posts. Maybe you have an old blog post that had a little bit of a nod to a client that you worked with. Can you turn it into a case study? Or you have a podcast. Look at that blog post. Can you use that for some show notes if you have a show about that topic? Or maybe it's a good topic. You create a show all around that blog post. Consider how you can repurpose that old blog post. I want to just have you leave with this. Blogging is one strategy, but it is not the only strategy. I want you to have permission to choose what works for you. Choose the strategy that matches your strengths and your capacity, and don't worry about everyone telling you that you should have a blog and feel all these shoulds. You need to do what matches what you're able to do. If you can't commit to blogging consistently, you have permission to not have a blog. Your website can still be incredibly effective, especially if you do those few alternatives that I shared with you. Focus your energy on strategies you can actually maintain, and your business will truly reap the results from it. So if you need some help figuring out the right content strategy for your website, maybe you have a blog, you don't know what to do with it, or maybe you would like to have a blog and you're not sure how you can incorporate it into your website, a coaching call might be a good fit for you. I encourage you to book a call with the link in the show notes. We can have a chat, look at your website, figure out what's working, what's not, and make a plan for the next 6 months. I thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you next time. And that wraps up another episode of Website Design Made Simple. I hope you found the insights shared in this episode valuable and takes you one step closer to creating a website that attracts more of your ideal clients and builds your brand. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or a rating on Spotify. Your review will help us reach more small business owners like you who are ready to make more money with their website. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.